The Anran Solar Wireless Security Camera is the first mid-range camera I've reviewed that features the ability to see 360 degrees. Plus, it includes a solar panel that enables you to mount it in more places without the need to be near a mains power supply. Anran reached out to me to take a look at their Anran Q3 Pro 2K solar battery camera that sits in what most people consider mid-range pricing. At $129 it's definitely a bigger investment than similar brands on the market, however it does have two unique features versus competitors. The first is that it has a motorized mounting that enables you to view 360 degrees on a horizontal plane, combined with 90 degrees of articulation on the vertical plane. No matter where you place the camera, it's going to give you excellent coverage of the area you want to monitor. The second unique feature is that this particular model comes with its own solar panel. The panel produces enough power to keep the battery topped up so that it's operational for longer, if not indefinitely, depending on your access to direct sunlight. Being free of a main supply means that you can install the camera in more places than were previously available for a security camera around your home. The first thing that struck me on opening the box is how big the unit is. It has a solid white plastic housing and feels pretty weighty at 2.2 pounds or 1 kilogram. Also in the box is the solar panel that you use to keep the internal battery topped up without the need for a mains power supply. You'll find a micro USB to USB-C cable which you'll need for the initial setup if you don't already have one, but more on that later. You'll need to invest in a micro SD card to store any clips captured by the camera, and the camera supports cards up to 128GB in size. Anran does have its own cloud storage service which you can sign up to for free for the first 7 days. After 7 days you'll be reminded that your cloud storage has expired and be prompted to subscribe should you wish to continue using the service. However, it's worth noting that the camera operates perfectly without the need for a subscription. It will simply store videos locally on the device which you can then access from anywhere using the app. A nice touch is included in the box are 2 stickers for use when installing the camera. I found they made it much easier to mount the camera and align the holes for the brackets. Talking of the bracket, it actually has a clever little design feature to give you more options for placement. The bracket can be mounted either horizontally using the screw holes at the back, or if you don't have a convenient wall, you can mount the camera on a ceiling or soffit using the screw holes on the top. Then the camera just slides into the bracket. The solar panel bracket is a little simpler but includes a convenient ball joint enabling you to manipulate the panel to face the direction of the most sunlight. The camera itself is IP65 waterproof rated, which means it's going to stand up to most outdoor weather in most parts of the world without any trouble. At this point, before installation, it's recommended you plug in the camera to fully charge the internal battery. While the unit can be used exclusively with the solar panel, the panel is only meant to keep the battery topped up. Unfortunately, I didn't read the instructions before mounting the camera myself, but I was lucky that the camera was installed near a mains power supply, but more on the battery life at the end of this video. As mentioned, this particular camera is solar panelled, so it makes the installation process that much more flexible. You're not going to be tethered to a location with a power outlet. However, you can also run the camera with a suitably weatherproofed 5V 2A power brick. Providing the mounting surface is sufficiently pliable, you can put the camera and the solar panel pretty much anywhere. Included in the box are the necessary screws. If you do want to mount the camera to masonry, there are some anchors included too. Once you've decided on where you want the camera to be mounted, you'll want to double check the length of the solar panel cable to make sure you can find a location with available sunlight and still have slack to connect to the camera. Your one limitation will be the proximity to your Wi-Fi network. You'll want to make sure that it's not too far from your router or Wi-Fi extenders you have for a solid connection to the 2.4 GHz band. As mentioned, before installation it's recommended you fully charge the camera using a main supply. Once fully charged, you'll then be able to use the solar panel to keep the camera operational and continually top up the battery. After powering on the device and installing the memory card, it's a very straightforward process to connect the camera to the app using a QR code. One really nice touch is the audible prompts to help you with the process. Next, you can assign the camera to a short list of existing virtual rooms within the app that will correspond to your home, or you can create new rooms specific to you. You can also create a family group and invite up to 8 family members to have access to the camera. They will need to have their own Anran App account though. As part of the installation, you receive 7 free days of cloud storage, which you can then subsequently pay for if you enjoy the additional features. The app is going to be very familiar in terms of functionality if you've ever owned a home security camera before. When it loads, you're presented with the main dashboard where all your installed Anran cameras will appear in a list with thumbnails for ease of reference. Then along the top navigation you can choose your cameras by location in your setup. I only have the one camera installed at the front door, but should you have multiple rooms and devices, they'll be organised by rooms you have set up here. The view can be managed by grid or list view depending on the number of Anran cameras you have. The other quick options include the ability to switch off the live thumbnail, tap the play button for an instant live review, or tap the replay icon that will launch the playback of the last recorded activity. Other quick settings include quick toggles for push notifications from the camera, quick access to events triggered by motion near the camera, and quick access to more detailed settings. At the top, next to the icon that enables you to add more devices to your app, is another cool feature. If you have multiple Anran cameras, you can tap this and you'll be presented with a dashboard of all your current live feeds. I only have the one camera, but with multiple cameras you'll be able to simultaneously review all your devices at the same time and navigate between them easily. It's a great way to enable you to review your home security. From the main view interface, you can take screenshots of the current view or start recording video. Also, the camera features a two-way speaker and microphone to be able to interact with whoever's standing near the camera. This part of the interface also gives you quick access to motion detection settings, which I'll cover off in more depth later. The PTZ icon is for quick access for operating the camera. Pressing up, down, left or right moves the camera to face the new direction. Tapping on the center button exits the controls and brings you back to the main interface. The light icon enables you to switch on the built-in LED light should you want more illumination at night while reviewing the camera live feed. Swiping left on the interface reveals some more options. The first is the siren function that will trigger the strobe light effect and audible siren manually, which is useful if you want to scare away potential intruders. The second setting is an automated alarm function that will only trigger at night. This might be useful for those users who know that any nighttime visitors around the position of the camera are definitely not welcome or expected. I could see this function being very useful around tool sheds or garages where you keep valuable equipment. The next function toggles the different vision modes for the camera. Like similar modern cameras on the market now, the Anran camera does support full color night vision. However, if you prefer better video definition, you can also just use the black and white night vision. One nice feature is that you can also leave the camera to automatically switch to full color night vision should it detect movement or a person. The final option in the bottom of the interface is to access the album where any screenshots or videos you capture manually will be stored. There are also some additional options that you can access by tapping on the video feed. One of the more important options is the ability to switch between the standard definition or quad high definition resolution for the video feed. While the QHD setting is better for image clarity, it's worth noting it will use up more bandwidth, making the camera feed a little slower to load in the app. Plus, clips will be larger and take up more room on your SD card. Another major benefit to using the QHD setting is that when you pinch to zoom on the feed, the fidelity is higher, enabling you to see more detail than standard definition. As mentioned, there's a built-in microphone on the camera and the audio feed is on continuously. Should you want to turn it off, you can quickly tap on the speaker icon. Lastly, you can also make the video feed full screen in landscape mode to make it easier to see the details. Here, you can tap on the screen to bring up same options as before to manipulate the camera settings, which is another nice convenient design touch. Going deeper into the settings menu, you can find numerous important options. The first is to toggle to receive notifications for any events that the camera senses. If you turned it on, you'll receive push notifications via your app. Tapping on the notification will lead you to a still image of the event, and then tapping on the play button will launch the video clip. It's a nice design to enable you to quickly assess whether you want to review the entire video clip each time without waiting for the video feed to load. Beneath that is a toggle for whether the camera displays an LED light while operating as a courtesy to visitors, or you can turn it off and operate in stealth mode. The next option includes the settings for different frequencies depending on the screen or monitors you're reviewing the live feed with. There's also an option to flip the stream upside down if you've mounted the camera upside down itself for any reason. You'll also find the same options for the night vision here. The next section covers the sound settings. Here you can toggle the microphone as well as the option to record voices within earshot of the camera. You can also toggle the built-in speaker, which also includes the settings for the audio alarm. The last audio setting is the volume for the built-in speaker, which you can adjust to suit your preferences. Under the motion detection section, you can toggle the ability for the camera to automatically detect movement within the field of view. Beneath that is the sensitivity level. When this is adjusted to lower level, the camera is less likely to trigger notifications and record events from minor movements such as the wind blowing in the trees. The next section covers different ways you can adjust the power consumption of the camera to increase battery life. The settings govern the number of features that are turned on and the length of clips recorded by the device. The more features and the longer the clips, the more the camera will consume the available battery power. There are two predefined settings that you can use to create a custom profile that enables you to toggle specific features. Plus, you can dictate recording time and set the latency for the alarm to trigger if you don't want it to go off too frequently every time someone or something passes in front of the camera. Should you want more control over when you get notifications, you can build a schedule when the camera will send you updates. Under Alarm Plan, you can create a schedule that won't alert you during the day, for instance, if you happen to work from home, or you can set a blackout schedule at night so that you're not disturbed while you sleep. In the alarm area, you can draw a detection zone to focus on movements within a specific area of the field of view. This is a good option when you intend to leave the camera facing one direction. However, this feature will be a lot less useful if you're operating the camera regularly and moving the direction it faces. The final setting in this section is the audio warning and light. This feature will trigger an audible alarm as a warning to potential intruders. It's only available at night time and is intended for home security purposes after dark. Within the battery management section, you can review the power supply type and the remaining battery life. There's a little help section for maintaining battery health, and then for interested users, you can also review detailed stats on the power consumption. Recording management includes some basic information about the capacity of the SD card and the ability to format the memory as required. The Anran camera does support Amazon Echo, but sadly not Google Assistant at this time. However, the camera should be able to stream the video feed to a compatible Amazon Echo device. I tried to connect it to the display on a Samsung fridge, but sadly that didn't work. The most important part of owning a security camera is the fidelity of the video, and it's not just whether it's the highest resolution, but the speed in which you can review the events. The Anran camera supports up to 2K or QHD resolution. However, it's worth noting the resolution of the videos when exported are 2304 by 1296. You can toggle the quality down to SD or 640 by 360 too to save on bandwidth and storage space. Most of the time I've been leaving the camera in QHD, but I could see SD quality being perfectly usable for areas that you want to surveil which are much closer to the camera itself. For instance, inside a shed or covering a doorway entrance. Having said that, there's only a minor delay in loading the video feed in full QHD. One other note about the video quality is that the full resolution runs at 15 frames per second, and the standard definition runs at 12 frames per second when exported. The camera mount has full articulation thanks to the motors and gives you complete coverage of any area except straight up, which shouldn't be an issue in most use cases. While the mounting twists 355 degrees, the fact the camera is a wide-angle lens means that you're not going to notice that missing 5 degrees of pan. When it comes to the security features, the smart passive infrared sensor and processing is pretty quick to acquire humans and larger pets to trigger an event recording. The two-way audio is loud and clear, and the response rate is on par with other cameras I've tried. You wouldn't want to have a long conversation with someone on the other side, but you can have brief staccato chats in a pinch. The night vision is clear, and the black and white mode has a good range. The full color night mode is also good quality. The automated alarm system works as promoted. The LED light and alarm will turn on during your scheduled time set in the app. As a side note, the automated alarm only works at night. I'm not sure whether that's a technical limitation during daylight hours or simply a convenience feature. The push notifications are pretty fast too, and there's very little latency between notifications, which is both reassuring, but it will also be distracting if you pick a highly trafficked area to mount the camera. Unfortunately, there's no way to adjust the frequency of the notifications, which makes sense as it's designed to alert you to every event as a security camera. However, it would have been nice to have an option to increase the latency between notifications to save your phone from never-ending updates. The only option is to have the notifications on or off completely. Since installation over a week ago, the battery has dipped to 60% from 100% charge. However, in fairness to Anran, that's because we've just hit late autumn here in the Pacific Northwest with short days and less sunlight. The camera is also installed in a forested area, limiting direct sunlight to the solar panel. I've also been accessing the camera at a much higher frequency than normal usage for the purposes of this review. Despite all of that, it's performing very admirably. For wintertime and locations where there's less sunlight, the camera might require a top-up using a power bank sooner rather than later to keep it charged to an operational level. Another feature of the camera I like is the ability to create a family group profile where you can add up to 8 people who can access the camera via their own Anran app on their phones. You can set whether the group members have full administrator access or view only on a person-by-person basis too if you don't want other members to mess up your settings. There are some areas for improvement. First up, the Anran camera only supports Amazon Echo and not Google Assistant at this time. It's a shame, as I'd love to be able to review the feed on my Google Nest Hub Max or Chromecasts. Another missing feature I would have personally liked to have seen is AI tracking. One competitor, but for indoor security monitoring, is WiseCam Pan, which will follow any movement in its field of view. Like the WiseCam Pan, the Anran camera is fully articulated, and it would have been great if it could have automatically adjusted itself to track movements around your home. Overall, I'm impressed with the camera. It features all the key things that make a good home security camera. The video quality is good and sharp enough to be useful when it comes to events recorded in the near vicinity. The connection speed is fast enough and on a par with similar cameras, and you're not left frustrated waiting for the app to load to see what your camera has spotted. It's the additional features in the Anran camera that really set it apart from the competition. For me, the ability to operate the camera to see every area is great. There are no blind spots where you can't investigate any events. The other key feature is the solar panel. While the internal battery is set to have more conservative power profile, it will last a long time. However, the ability to trickle charge the battery with solar energy means that you can mount the camera in more places without the need for a main supply. The one caveat might be during the winters or geographical locations where you don't have as much sunlight. In those situations, eventually you might want to top up the battery directly using a power bank. Finally, the Anran app does include some nice additional features such as visual and audible alarms for additional peace of mind. Plus, the power and bandwidth saving screenshot feature for events is clever, giving you more convenience I've not seen on other cameras. The Anran Q3 Pro 2K solar battery camera is a solid choice for anyone looking for a home security option. Thanks for watching, and as always, please like this video and subscribe to my channel for more videos on the connected home and personal technology.